All right. Welcome to Friday Night Party Line. I'm your host, Victor Frost, and tonight it is a pretty good show we got going. We're taking a little bit of an easy route. It is the 19th of June, and Churba, how are you doing today?
I'm not on fire. It's excellent.
No, no, oh, good. Well, how
I'm
could you be
also
on fire?
watching
It's
my
freaking winter.
I'm also watching my entire profession being blamed for the actions of a lone racist with easy access to guns.
Uh,
So
we'll get to
happy
that. We'll
day.
get to that in a minute. But Nelson, how are you doing this fine Friday evening? Ah, well, we'll see what's over and what's in that box after the break. But first, your daily double. Ding, 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 ding. All right. You're double sleepy now. I've only made things worse. All right. Well, before we get onto the show proper, just wanted to take a brief moment here, touch on briefly this obvious catastrophe and terrible terrorist event that has consumed the media landscape recently, so that you in no way could possibly have missed it. But in Charleston recently, a white guy who's I'm not gonna give his name any more publicity than it needs, basically went in and shot up a predominantly black church for the sole reason of because he was a horrible, horrible racist. And there really isn't that much more to say on this topic, um, apart from the fact that this needs to stop. And with that reason, we're not going to take much more time on this. As Nelson said in a private conversation we had a little bit earlier, discussing whether or not we would change the topic of this show to basically talk about this the entire show. He said that this is terrorism. Death penalty is still bad. America loves guns and racism, and the Confederate flag is a symbol of hate. Nelson, you had an article from God, where was it?
Ta-Nehisi Coates at The Atlantic.
At the Atlantic. That will be in the show notes, and that basically sums up how at least me and Nelson feels about it. I'm pretty sure Churba feels about the same way um, about this.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, then. So, on to lighter topics. We're going to be talking about E3. Yes,
God
E3.
save us.
Yeah, E3. E3 is a very special event. It turns downtown Los Angeles into a basic shitstorm. I can't go there throughout the entire duration. There's no room to drive, nowhere to park, and it is perhaps one of the single most exciting events for video games. It's pretty awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna treat E3 like the event it actually is. It's not so much a press conference as it is the opening of a futures market. I found this interpretation. I can't remember where I found it, but when somebody first mentioned to me that E3 is really a futures market and people's attention and in some of the projects, actual money via Kickstarter is a show of faith in the futures of these products and prospects. I loved it, and we're just going to talk a little bit about how we think some of the stuff that was announced at E3 is gonna do.
And we
So
did try to get Mike Schneider on the show for this, but
yeah,
unfortunately, when we called his agent, he was cancelled. So
yes,
Well, you see, he's too busy playing Fract.
yeah. Uh, but anywho, let's see. Where should we start? Should we start at Sony? Should we start with Nintendo,
I think we should.
Microsoft? Oh well, I don't remember the rest of that song.
I say we start at No Man's Sky and then just keep playing No Man's Sky infinitely. Yeah, I was cautiously optimistic, which is the worst thing to hear for a cancer diagnosis. But
Okay.
a lot of people, a lot of journalists have played demos, or not even demos. They've played little bits of the game, the actual game, and they said it was as good as they thought it would be. So I am pretty jazzed. In fact, when it comes out next year, I am going to play it and listen to a smooth jazz soundtrack in the stylings of 80s anime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have a Cytec something or other. That's pretty good.
All right. Well, how about this? How about we start off in Microsoft's camp and talk a little bit how we think that new Elite video game Xbox One controller of theirs is going to do. The one with the back bumpers and the swappable joysticks and D-pad thing they got going on there.
Best.
I'll
Well-
definitely be buying one.
Yeah, best case scenario, it's real good and it has deep integration with Windows, which is something controllers need.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it's like when you had the original Xbox controller and you could swap for third-party faceplates. Yeah.
No,
Well,
I've actually seen a Vidoc that goes into detail, and they actually show show the guys doing it live on the actual production model controller. So at the very least, they are not lying about customization, and they are not lying about the trigger take-up switches.
Yeah.
Which they've done a very clever way. Instead of like altering it in software, it's a mechanical stop that basically moves the actuator and the mechanical stop on the trigger, so that it is physically fixing it rather than doing it in software. That's a clever idea.
Keep it simple, stupid. You make it simple like that, it's just gonna work.
I think
Also, this is my current Xbox controller. That is not finger gunk. That is this controller being so old that the plastic is getting discolored.
I
That is a
like
launch controller.
I like the competition hopefully between the new Microsoft controller and the Valve controller. I think that will push both of those forward.
Speaking
Yes.
of the Valve controller, I don't think we ever really touched on this regarding it, but I don't think it's gonna do well.
I think it might. I really like the social aspect of like sharing configs, because I don't like going in and fiddling with configs. I just
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean,
find a good one and use it.
Yeah, I mean, there's that aspect of it, but I think having those just two big ass touchpads, people are gonna be. It's gonna be weird for people.
Might be.
I mean, not as weird though. Not as weird as, and I watched the same Vidoc as you, Sherba. Those obvious arcade joysticks you could put onto the Xbox One Elite controller. Those were cool.
Oh yeah, those were wicked.
But they were weird. I mean, can you imagine trying to manipulate a giant arcade controller type stick on a little bitty gamepad?
So you're saying
Yes.
so you have to hold it like this, and then you have to manipulate it like this, right?
I'm thinking what you would have to do is you'd have to put a pillow on your lap, put the controller on the pillow, and then be like this.
Well, you can't do it like that because you have to cup it to keep it in place.
Well, that's what the pillow's for. The pillow
Oh,
is
true,
sort of
yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that big ass joystick attachment's gonna do, but I think the controller overall is gonna do pretty okay.
Oh,
You could always hire a cheap prostitute. I mean, it would not be the first time I've hired a cheap prostitute to gently cup things.
No, that's GTA 5 exclusive Xbox One content.
yes.
Also, by GTA 5, it is good. Even though it was announced like quite a long time ago and has been out for quite some time, it is good. Though there are quite a few hackers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, server side guys,
So you're
try
saying
using
that-
it.
You're saying that people are not playing by the rules in a game about not playing by the rules.
Yeah, it is an interesting situation, but normally the kind of playing by the rules involves shooting people in the face, not turning me into a fucking pool table. Generally, the rules, I mean the laws of man, not the laws of physics.
Speaking of breaking the laws of man, Shenmue 3 is actually a thing. That's happening. How the hell did that possibly happen? It's like the savior comes back to the promised land.
And hopefully, unlike Shenmue 2, it'll be fucking good.
Yeah,
I still
I'm
haven't
wary.
played Shenmue 2. I want to get it and see if I can somehow play it.
Do you
But,
enjoy driving a forklift for hours on end? Because I've got good news for you, my friend.
You know what?
You know, Daikon is on sale. You could just get that instead.
To be perfectly honest, I really did like the forklift parts of Shenmue. It was strangely zen, but yeah, in a weird twist, Yu Suzuki comes out on the Sony stage and says, "Yeah, Shenmue 3, yeah, on Kickstarter." Out of
Yeah,
their
that's the
$2
weird
million,
thing.
their $2 million goal, they're like 2 days in. They've got $3,359,000 pledged.
Yeah, they funded within 24 hours of the announcement.
Oh yeah. Like, how can there be? And there is like an insane amount of people doing these like super serious. Like, there are 3 people who pledged $10,000.
Wow.
Did they get a real forklift?
They get dinner with Yu Suzuki and a set of Shenmue
Forklifts?
scripts from Shenmue 1 and 2, and one of the people who pledged the other $10,000 goal, so bringing 4 people who pledged $10,000, they get Ryo's jacket.
Wait, the actual jacket worn by actual real life Ryo?
No, the Ryo's trademark leather jacket, the one that was that Yu Suzuki approved as a replica. Apparently, it's a one-off. Let's see.
Huh.
There's just so many people. Like 24,000, nearly 25,000 people pledged $30 or more. That's insane. But it's gonna be coming out for PC. Yeah.
Well, that's actually pretty good.
That's decent.
I might actually buy that then.
If you do back, you could get the digital copy if you put in the $30 now.
I would, but I just bought Dying Light and don't have $30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to spare,
and
anyway.
I'm saving
Without
as much as I
digging into
possibly
Christmas
can for
funds.
Kineticon.
You're going to buy Kineticon?
I'm going.
Yes.
I'm going to buy Kineticon. That's exactly what I'm going to do, Nelson.
It's
Yes.
a great purchase.
I find that there's a lot of value in it.
So what
Moving-
else happened at E3?
Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer.
Oh wait, they're making a Harvest Moon for PC, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I love me some Harvest Moon. I'm
Let's see.
all about those beats.
I don't know. I never really got into Harvest Moon. Animal Crossing got me a lot better.
Harvest Moon is it's the reason why so many people were into Farmville is because the core ideas of Harvest Moon are so good. It's just that they were executed in the pursuance of a soulless money grab. But like Harvest Moon is so nice. It is so nice.
It is. It is a nice game.
It is such a nice game.
I get that, but for me,
Yeah.
it's Animal Crossing. Though I don't think these new Animal Crossing games are going to do nearly as well as some people think they're going to do. Happy Home Designer, it feels like it's
Happy Home Designer is basically taking the least fun part of Animal
know.
Crossing
yeah.
and making it a spin-off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know exactly how they're going to do it. It cannot be its own separate game. There's just no chance.
It's like if you took The Sims and you took out all of the home design, and you only had the like dealing with humans and going to work bits.
Yeah, it cannot be very fun. But kudos on them for kind of expanding the franchise.
Yeah,
oh my God, all the
experimenting is
amiibos.
Experimenting is great.
There is one thing that is actually both interesting and exciting.
Super Mario Maker?
No, Microsoft announcing Xbox One complete backward compatibility.
Oh yeah.
See, you saying complete, but I've been hearing all this time limited backward compatibility.
No, it's limited initially because they don't have that many developers on board, but with how they're doing it, they're not actually doing it like they did with 360, where they have to rewrite the games for the hardware and update them and all that. They're actually emulating the entire hardware layer of the 360 on the Xbox One. The Xbox 360 game thinks it's running completely normally on a 360. The only thing they need to bring any game forward to the Xbox One is the publisher to sign off on it, and they run a quick QA pass to make sure it works.
This is great for people who have an Xbox 360, or rather who have an Xbox One, or who have an Xbox 360 and they've been waffling on upgrading just because they have so many games they don't want to trade in the console or whatever. But this is gonna make the dropping in price of Xbox 360 games a lot slower.
Yeah.
Need to pick up them cheap games, and they're not gonna be dropping so quick.
But still, it is pretty crazy that they're just emulating an entire console on their console.
Well, I mean, it just sort of goes to show you the vast gap in processing ability between the two generations. We see, we're so used to here's one generation, here's another generation, and then look at that. It's gigantic.
It's also pretty impressive because at the moment we're still struggling to really competently and perfectly emulate PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 mostly. I have a pretty decent computer. I've played some PlayStation 2 emulated games. It is pretty janky.
Yeah. Just to quickly toss back over to Shenmue, Kyrie Oblivious commented on our YouTube stream page that she feels that the fact that Shenmue was on Kickstarter was really shitty.
I
can't say I agree. I mean, particularly since Shenmue 3 has been quote-unquote in development forever, or rather it's always been not in development.
That's a good point. If Valve came out and launched a Kickstarter for Half-Life 3, and they're like, okay, if you give us $10 million, we will make this video game for you.
Day one.
Which I don't know how I feel about it. I mentioned on ATW9K, a podcast that we frequently merge with, that there's sort of two types of kickstarting, right? There's the really niche stuff where you don't know if it's good or not, but you kickstart a pilot for a TV show or something.
Or
and
like an iPhone case that's like a camera diffuser.
Yeah, or a pen, or also a wallet, or also a slightly different type of wallet, or even a third slightly different type of wallet.
So many wallets on Kickstarter.
But the second type is nostalgia stuff, right? So like Veronica Mars movie. Yeah. Which
here's the principle. Here's the principal difference between your example of Half-Life 3 and Shenmue 3. Mm-hmm. Half-Life 3, Valve has always been saying they've been developing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which I think is the latest installment, didn't come out too long ago. Maybe, 5 years ago? Right? Something like that?
I feel like it was longer.
Give or take. But the Shenmue... when did Shenmue 2 come out? 2001?
It was a while.
14 years ago, so it would be 2001, yeah?
Yeah, 14 years ago.
Nobody was expecting Shenmue 2 to come out. And the difference is that while if Valve came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna kickstart Half-Life 3 or it's not happening," they're basically holding the story hostage.
Mm-hmm.
For Shenmue 3, people have been born and gone through multiple console generations since the last Shenmue game came out.
That's true. It's sort of like almost Deus Ex. How they were like, "Hey, we're making a Deus Ex game," and everyone was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Yeah. What?
And the second Deus Ex was also pretty bad.
And then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, no. This Deus Ex Human Revolution. No, I didn't ask for this. This is terrible. No, nobody. It's not going to be good."
I did it.
It was
I
so
didn't ask for
good.
this.
It was the best.
It was so good, except the last 10 minutes. It was,
Yes,
it was,
the ending vending machine.
it was like a 90 out of 100 game until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Speaking of new Deus Ex,
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just watched a 20-minute gameplay preview the other day.
I
looks
saw the
really
link for
good.
that. So, is it good?
It
I didn't
looks
watch
so
the whole
good.
thing.
It basically takes everything that was good about Human Revolution and a number of things that were good about original Deus Ex and just basically tweaks them a little bit, cuts out some of the cruft, introduces some more good stuff,
I like good stuff.
introduces some Dishonored.
Interesting. New
Yeah,
Dishonored.
there's a new
too.
thing. There's a new
With
thing
a-
called the Icarus Dash, where you
Oh,
basically
yeah.
do the Dishonored blink.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I haven't
it
heard
seems to work okay.
I haven't heard the pseudo-scientific explanation of how that's supposed to work yet. I'm sure I'll hear it and I'll be like, that sounds like bullshit, and also okay.
So
It's a brother running around with fucking no arms, fucking mashing people.
He's got robot arms. I'd buy that. He's got robot sunglass lenses.
yeah.
See, what I want
Deus
to know
Ex. Deus
is
Ex is
how
one of those games that is guaranteed to be a success, much like the new Mass Effect game.
Yep.
I want to know how he powers those arms. Because if he uses miniaturized fusion power, does that mean he can in fact hug children with nuclear arms?
I think he does. I can't think of a way to power an exosuit without microfusion.
Right. Just
Um,
need the power. But Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, which takes place in a whole other galaxy because they trashed ours.
Well, apparently it takes place long and far and away from the events of the Mass Effect trilogy. And
Oh.
apparently you can play as a human, which to me is bullshit.
Humans are bullshit.
Because
Then again, I'd say if they've gone out exploring, it might not be quite as bullshit if you're like one of the few humans
Yeah.
about. Because
I
he
want
is
to play
wearing
as a
N7
Gazorpian.
armor.
okay, here's the thing.
So,
If they can, depending on how long and far and away, the longer and farther out and away this story takes place from the trilogy, the more bullshit playing as a human is, because there are a lot of humans who are getting on with God. What the hell is the name of the blue people with the tentacle heads? God, what the hell is the name of
Jellyfish.
their species?
Oh, like
no, not
Tully.
jellyfish. That's the other one.
No,
The-
not
No,
like
no.
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 Oh, the other ones. The ones
Yeah.
I
that
wanted to
were
call her a
just like
Canary for a second.
just
I'm
like
mixing
the
up my fucking RPGs.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Because there are a lot of humans getting it on with Asari,
That's true.
and it only produces Asari, so there
Mhm.
should be,
Hold on.
by and large, a majority of Asari.
Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
going to do my Asari cosplay real quick. Hey, baby, wanna fuck? That was terrible.
That was terrible. That was. Holy crap!
I've been sitting on that joke for years.
I can tell.
With good reason.
But
no, I've really enjoyed the Mass Effect universe, and I must say, that trailer, probably the second best use of Johnny Cash in an E3 trailer after Prey 2. Which is still one of my favorite game trailers to this day.
all right. HoloLens. We got another peek of it at E3. Is that? Do you guys think that's going to be a thing?
I'll try it out.
Microsoft seems to be really getting deep into the HoloLens action here.
Here's the thing.
Is it going to be something awesome and really cool that's going to really take off, or is it going to be Google Glass?
I have no idea because remember, I bought Google Glass.
You did.
I also bought Sony's VR headset that came out in like 2012, maybe 2013.
Was that was HDMI at that point, right?
It was HDMI and it had no motion tracking and it was not good. And I played TF2 for 5 minutes. It cost $700.
Hope you got a decent
motherfucker.
I know. Hope you got a decent return when you sold it on Craigslist.
Not so much, no. Because I was like, oh, it's a VR headset, and everyone was like, what is that? I was like, it's like the 90s. Speaking of things that I think that look really cool, but I don't know what they will be.
Way to segue than just speaking of things, because we've been doing that.
Well, Tom Clancy's The Division.
Oh, no. Before we get to that, one thing that gives me some hope for HoloLens is every journalist that I trust in the gaming sector who has had a chance to go to the press event and like actually put the thing on and try it out and do the Halo demo and everything else, basically like to a person said, like putting it on and then like when they said, okay, now turn to the left and go to the waypoint you'll see, every single one of them describes turning and seeing the Halo waypoint just sitting down the hall, hovering like HD in fucking midair, as a massive holy shit moment, considering they could still see everything else perfectly fine. All of them have said, hey, there's some problems with it. Some of the tracking's a little weird, but it is like a alpha version at the moment. So, but yeah, they have all been raving about it. Apparently, it is really good, and if it plays out the way people seem to think it is from these press demos, it will be a thing because it is good.
I feel like it will be Google Glass the way Google Glass should have been.
Hopefully.
Oh God, Google triggered on my browser.
Okay, Google.
Okay.
Okay, Google. Enormous amounts of porn. Did it work?
No. Headphones.
Fuck! You're killing me.
What about?
You're killing me.
Let's talk about The Division and how great their like, voice communications are. They are so professional.
I didn't actually see that conference.
You should watch the video because it's basically the setup is that it's a multiplayer. A number of people are playing the game, and they are great. They are high speed, low drag, like calm, precise. They are things that no gaming headset owner has ever heard. It is kind of amazing. And the game itself, I know, will be a disappointment because I am constantly disappointed by everything in life. But it's set in a DMZ-esque New York City, which I am all about.
Wait, DMZ like North Korean DMZ or DMZ like the comic?
Like the comic.
Okay.
Yeah, which, again, I am all about. But I know it's going to disappoint me.
I too was impressed by the voice communications, but I don't know. I thought you gotta get a little bit more. I thought the narration in the trailer was just so generic and vague, and it was like It could have been for any Tom Clancy game, to be honest.
Oh, speaking of Tom Clancy games, the new Rainbow Six Elite game actually looks kind of cool.
Good. It looks like it might be good. I really liked Rainbow Six back in the day. Again, games from the 90s.
Though I will contend, I am, well, maybe not often considering the games I tend to play with other people, but when playing serious games, I am often very much that calm kind of professional voice.
Oh yeah, well,
Not that much of a stretch because, buddy, a, let's say, close friend of mine can tell you about the time that I very calmly related to her why I had to get off the phone because I just accidentally set the living room on fire. And it came across something like, oh, well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go for a minute, dear. I've set the living room on fire a bit, so I'll just go and quickly deal with that, and then I'll be back.
It reminded me very much of what it's like when I play Shack Tack.
Yes.
Like, it reminded me of that, and I've never heard that outside of that specific group of people. It's going to be terrible, probably. I think it'll be terrible. I think I will buy it, and I will be disappointed, but I will buy it.
Yeah.
I think I will buy it and enjoy it when I'm playing with friends and hear a lot of 12-year-olds making professional soldiers scream obscenities.
Yep. I just want to go to Brooklyn in the game and bust into my apartment in the game and then put together a computer and play the game. In the game.
I wish I could do that, but there's never any games set in Australia that aren't, like, just set in Sydney.
Well, speaking of games set in Australia, new Mad Max game. Well, first Mad Max game. Only Mad Max game, I think.
The Mad Max game.
No, I don't think it's the only.
Was there one before? There may have been.
There may have been. Mad Max came out at about that time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, while you guys are looking that up,
it looks interesting.
Games that are not going to do well, that PlayStation, that Composer game, the
Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to do well.
Gun Drawing Simulator 2015.
That's it. Dream something?
Yeah, Dreams. Looking at the trailer that they showed at the show during the press conference, and I admittedly am quoting directly from my own Twitter feed here, all I could think was someone is going to exactly reproduce this trailer using only crudely drawn genitalia. You are going to get to see a penis playing the piano with penis fingers.
The thing with this game is that the thing I don't like about it, I mean, if it acts as they say it's going to do, it's going to be a very interesting game, but no more so interesting than perhaps Mario Paint. Not just the chiptune making part, which everybody knows and loves, but the whole of the program. And just the way the things look in this game, everything just seems like it's made of like faux fur. It's all fuzzy and everywhere.
Yeah, that was a bit off.
Yeah.
Okay. The last Mad Max game was from 1990. It was a NES game, and it was very similar to Outlander.
Oh.
Similar enough to note.
Wait a minute. Breaking news. Breaking news. So, Oculus, which we haven't talked about, they announced their final shipping Rift version, and they announced their little handy-wandy controllers. But they also very quickly went through a bunch of games, and they said, oh, we'll talk more about them at E3. Well, turns out one of the games, I am pretty sure, is actually a remake of the book The Terror by Dan Simmons. Which is about the North. I've talked about it multiple times on here. It's the Northwest Passage, except it is a historical novel taken from the journal writings of the people on the boat who all died, who were going crazy and thought that there were witches and demons attacking their boat. It is Lovecraftian horror at its finest.
This sounds like a wonderful game that I'll never play.
And I think this game is actually based on that. It looks like it is, and it's in virtual reality.
You know, I will say this: the Oculus Rift will be great for a great many things, but I do think horror is where it will be able to be used to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have a funny
Imagine
reaction.
playing Five Nights at Freddy's with this game. With
I
the
have a funny
Oculus.
reaction to horror games, like Alien
Avoid them like the
Isolation.
plague.
No, not really. Well, I do avoid most of them like the plague because most of them are fucking awful. But no, like games that are actually quality and worth playing, like Alien Isolation, Amnesia, games like that. I don't seem to really get the rise out of them that other people do because I'm coming along and it's like, okay, there he is. I better go stuff myself in a locker. This is like high school.
So I am the opposite. I played 5 minutes of Amnesia when it came out on a bright, sunny day with the windows open and my headphones out, like on the speakers, with my girlfriend standing right next to me. And I lasted about, like, I want to say 5 minutes, but it was actually more like 2 minutes.
Yeah, no,
Really?
zero reaction out of me.
Yeah,
It-
Amnesia
it
for
freaked
me
me out.
was just boring.
What?
Oh, it wasn't boring to me. Like, I liked it. I liked the imagery. I liked all of the world
Oh, no.
crafting and all that.
No, don't get me wrong. I
Just let me-
totally just I totally appreciated what they did with the game. The art is good. The music is incredibly atmospheric. You know, lots of flavor text everywhere. Love all that biz, but just if all that stuff is there to scare the audience and I'm not getting scared, and that's pretty much the entire thing about the game, I'm bored.
No, man, the horror game that got me the worst so far, or horror games, has been the Fear series and Five Nights at Freddy's for like the first 20 minutes or so.
Eh,
Because the jump scares, you can't prepare for the jump scare.
no.
It
Yeah.
taps into the lizard brain and makes you go, ah!
For like a second. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's your new ringtone, Friday Night Party Line listeners. Me going, you have a. Hold on, let me just do a proper one for you. You have a text message. Ah!
That'll be available to download in the show notes on the actual page. Nelson, what are you tap dancing over there?
I was writing about the terror and Edge of Nowhere.
Yes.
Are there any other games this year?
I'm sure there are
Yes.
many games this year, but I don't know. We've been going for a little bit. I think that's a good place.
Fucking, shit, what was it?
We're nearly
Brain
at 40
needs to
minutes.
fly it to me. Oh, Just Cause 3.
Nathan Drake, I don't
Ugh.
like as a character.
I think I liked him more when he spent 2 minutes standing around deciding not to get involved.
Yeah, he seems just to like. I don't know. He could very much just walk away from certain situations.
Yeah, he very much could, though I must admit it was kind of funny. Like, when he's smashing through all the markets, all I could hear in my head was that guy from fucking Avatar going, "My cabbages!"
Turba, you
I
and
think-
all of Twitter.
I think the best.
It was
I
great.
think the best thing to come out of Just Cause games was giving Colin Furs an excuse to make the machine gun tuk tuk.
I've met Colin Fursey. He is
Have you?
just as nuts in real life.
Really?
Yeah, dude, because I was part of Leeds Hackspace, and he is part of that community up in the north there of all hackers
Oh
and
my
makers.
God.
So I
I
got to meet
really
him
wanna
just on a
meet this
random
guy.
job. Yeah, no, he's a cool dude. This was
Yeah.
like before he was super famous. He was just another Northern English hacker hanging around. But
Just another nut. Just another crazy guy.
yeah, they're all pretty much like that up there. And also, if you are in North England, Leeds Hackspace is the best. You should go. Tell Squirrel I sent you. It won't help, but you know, it's nice.
It won't help, but it'll give some explanation.
Yes.
Well, who are you? Why are you here? Churba sent me. What?
Also, let's see what else was announced. There was
Mirror's
the
Edge?
baby. Oh yes, Mirror's Edge. I'm all
Yeah.
about that.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah.
day one buy for me.
Yeah. Those are
let's
gonna be
see.
good.
they announced the baby of Mark of the Ninja and Gunpoint, some hack and slash thing, 2D Manhunt, 2D Bully, Titanfall in green and brown.
I am surprised that they did not make an Animal Crossing game for the Wii U.
Yeah.
Because if they had done that, I would buy a Wii U,
think they would
especially
sell
if
more
it
than
integrated
one.
with the 3DS.
Oh, so there's two things that are big things, but I don't know how I feel about them.
Okay.
There's the new Star. Well, actually, there's three things. The first thing is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5,
What?
which prompted me to listen to the entire Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 soundtrack earlier.
The best one.
Yep. The second thing is that there is a Star Trek game. Oh, I'm sorry, Star Wars.
Oh.
Which looks like it might be good, maybe. And the third thing, which is what I'm really excited about, is the new trailer for Tacoma, which is Fulbright's new game. Gone Home is
The cool thing is that apparently Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 is also coming out for the Xbox 360.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this Star Wars game, Star Wars Battlefront, it is basically taking Battlefield 4, which I really enjoy,
It was fun.
and Star Wars Battlefront, which I really enjoy, and mashing them together like chocolate and peanut butter. I am all about that game. Except for Admiral Akbar, like, coming down and personally commanding single ground troops. That is not how
That's
the chain
a
of
little weird.
command works, guys.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a new Fallout, which I'm going to play because it's in Boston, and it has, you
Yes.
can build a wasteland hut, which I am all about.
I am probably
Let's-
going to play it because I've played every other fucking Fallout game. Why break tradition?
Yeah. There were
Yeah,
a
I never
lot
got
of
into it.
dogs. There were a lot of CGI dogs at this year's E3. I feel like they spent at least $1 million on CGI dogs.
Oh, there is also a game which is basically a story of a girl and her robot dog.
Mm-hmm.
Can't forget that.
That's
Did
the
the ASPCA sponsor E3 this year?
that's Recore, right?
Yeah, that's Recore. Yeah.
It looks interesting. I like the art style. Sort of reminds me of like a cross between Automata and Chappie.
Chappy.
A little bit.
Chappy, chappy.
Oh man, that fucking the robots in the next. I keep wanting to say the next Titanfall game, but it's fucking Call of Duty.
Same thing nowadays.
It's okay. It's a very easy mistake to have made.
Mhm.
They look exactly like Chappie. It's hilarious. But then again, so did the robots in Titanfall. Like, no joke, they are the exact same robots. They are fucking Chappie robots. The only difference is in Titanfall, you can shoot the shit out of them in great numbers, which is always good fun.
Alright. I think that is it.
Yes.
So, yes, that is it. There literally nothing else happened at E3, and even if it did, it's clearly not worth noting because, you know, we didn't bring it up. Oh, wait, hold on. Forza. Okay, that's it.
Oh, yeah, they
And also
lowered
new
a
Dark
Ford
Souls.
GT from the fucking ceiling. It was amazing. They're just like, we're bringing a Ford GT to everyone. I'm like, oh, all right.
Hello.
And I thought Google I/O had good giveaways.
I know. All right, now seriously though, that's about it. And I think that was a good show. Thanks, guys. It's a good show, and I'm hungry. I kind of want to go eat.
Right,
So that's-
chow down, brother.
Yeah, ciao. I'm going to say ciao so that I may ciao. All right, well, that has been today's, this week's episode of Friday Night Party Line. Join us next week when we do on Unacceptable Vices, and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Fun facts, Victor's grandmother knows who I am.
Yeah.